So it has been a while since I made my video talking about why Metal Gear Solid 1 is hard to mod, specifically about a month. And apparently people saw that video and took it personally, because since then, modding scene has literally exploded so hard, it genuinely made my head spin when I, followed up on it. I looked away from the Discord for a couple of weeks, came back, and suddenly there was insane stuff happening. Liquid is playable. Ocelot is playable. Raven is playable. Hell, at this point, you can probably play as a fucking cigarette packet or a rat, right? And the crazy thing is, I'm only half joking. When I made that previous video, the whole point was to explain why MGS1 was always a difficult game to mod properly. It's not like some PC games where you just drag a few files around, edit some textures, and suddenly have a completely new experience. MGS1 is very old and very weird and specific in how it handles things, and a lot of work requires people to dig into the game in ways that are honestly way beyond my understanding. So seeing all of this happen so quickly after the video is genuinely surreal. These guys have come so far in such a short amount of time, and it honestly is very incredible to see. None of this would be possible without the amazing and talented people who have joined Pizza's community. Everyone came together, shared knowledge, experimented, worked actual magic. A lot of new tools have been created to make MGS1 modding easier, and people are constantly researching and experimenting in the hopes of tackling bugs, making new discoveries, and pushing the game further than anyone expected. And that really warms my heart. And it is also the part that I really want to emphasize here. This is not just one person messing around with a character swap and calling it a day. This has become a proper collaborative community effort. Pizza started off a whole modding scene almost, right? You have people looking into how the game loads assets. You have people testing stages, figuring out how attack animations work, sounds, codec calls, enemy behavior animations, everything. All these tiny little things and stuff most players wouldn't even think about. I certainly didn't when I was thinking about this mod. But this is what modding a game like MGS1 really requires. It's not a very glamorous process at first, but now that the people are breaking the game open, making new tools for it, documenting what happened, and slowly building a better understanding of how the game actually works, this is what I think makes the progress so very impressive, especially in such a short amount of time. It's just a month. The Grey Fox mod has come an insane distance. We went from simply running around the maps as Grey Fox to now having proper attacks, abilities, and features implemented. At the moment, you can play through the first 4 levels using the developer version of the game, which is what allows all of these special attacks and abilities to actually work. And it's a very big step forward, because when people first saw Grey Fox running around Shadow Moses, that alone was already cool. It was the kind of thing most fans wanted and probably dreamed of when they were younger. I did myself, but now it's becoming more than just a novelty. It's starting to feel like an actual playable concept. So as the community grew, more people were able to contribute ideas and input on attacks, abilities, animations, and just, general gameplay features. It takes a lot to get this stuff working properly, as I mentioned before. And, it's very, very heartwarming. We're talking about a 30-year-old game, well, nearly 30-year-old game, and somehow people from all walks of life have just joined together to make something amazing happen. The MGS1 scene has been moving slowly for years, but with this renewed energy, it really feels like we're looking at something very special here. Unfortunately, there was also a moment where Pizza was in a car accident and a laptop he used for modding was damaged. I remember checking on Discord that day and having a near heart attack. Thankfully, Pizza was okay and he managed to fix the laptop up, which also meant all the modding data was safe and work could continue. It also reminded me of how fragile some of the community projects can be. A lot of the time when you see mods online, you just see the final result. You see the screenshots, whatever, right? The posts on Nexus mods. And it's easy to forget that behind all of that is usually a small group of people doing this in their spare time whilst having jobs and everything else on top. This isn't some massive studio like Konami, right? There is no unlimited budget. It's just very passionate people that love the game doing this in their own spare time. So when something like that happens, it really makes you appreciate the effort even more. But now that all these tools exist for modding MGS1, and now that the community is working together in unison, so much knowledge is being shared, and Pizza is planning to release a full game playable Liquid mod soon as well as a custom heliport front door hack that lets you bypass the vent entirely, so you no longer have to crawl through, you can just go through the main door. In general, I feel this has opened up so many opportunities. The tools being worked on are incredible. They give modders the ability to change sound effects, edit codec calls, adjust enemy attributes such as health and patrol routes, edit stages and modify weapons. Almost anything you can think of. This may sound like a random list of features, but each one of these things is a big deal, Being able to change sound effects means characters and weapons can feel more unique. Editing codec calls opens the door for altered dialogue setups or some sort of conversion mods, right? Changing enemy health and patrol routes means stages can be rebalanced or remixed. You can have a higher difficulty, a lower difficulty. Editing weapons and icons means you can start making things... Editing weapons and icons means you can start maybe adding your own custom weapons into the game or something like that, you know? It's opening up these paths and it's great. And you know, with custom attacks and animations, this is very massive because this is where playable characters can start feeling different from one another, less than model swaps and more like the actual playable characters. And then we have these playable bosses, which is still insane to say out loud. You got Liquid, Raven, Ocelot, probably a few more, probably even Metal Gear Ray, or you know, all being experimented with in ways that would have sounded ridiculous not long ago. Imagine if someone 10 years ago came up to you and said, "Hey, you want to play as Ocelot in MGS1?" It's like, you know, this kind of stuff people used to talk about on the playground rumors, you know, when me and my cousin were kids, like, "Hey, how cool would it be to play as a fucking ninja, right?" Oh, you know, classic my uncle works at Konami type of nonsense you'd hear in the playground, right? Play as Grey Fox. It was all just in everybody's imagination, except now it is not a cheat code or some unlockable thing. It's happening and it's being made by people very dedicated to this game. So again, if you're watching this and you know how to mod the game, or you know someone who does, I highly encourage you to join Pizza's Discord and get involved. It could genuinely help speed things up massively. In just 1 month, these absolute legends have made insane progress, and the Discord itself is also just a great place to meet like-minded people, hang out, and follow all the discoveries as they happen. Even if you're not a modder, it's still really cool to watch the process unfold. You get to see ideas being tested, discoveries being shared, and people slowly figuring out how to bend this game in ways that we never really thought possible. It's almost like people are speaking their own language when they're modding the game, and it's really cool. And if you are someone with technical knowledge, whether that is, you know, reverse engineering, coding, asset work, animation testing, or anything like this, or even just being good at breaking games in useful ways, there's absolutely something you can contribute. You know, communities like this grow when people get involved, and right now it feels like the momentum is really there, so it's a really good time to jump in. So to conclude, we went from MGS1 having a very limited modding scene to suddenly having things like a fully playable Grey Fox, playable bosses, you know, Raven, Ocelot, and a whole range of tools making the game easy to experiment with. It is an incredible turn of events, and honestly, it has panned out exactly how I hoped it would. This really feels like it could become the bastion for MGS1 modding, and I genuinely could not be happy with how things are going. And the best part is it still feels just like the beginning, because once, you know, the tools improve, once more people understand how everything works, and once knowledge is documented, who knows what we will see people coming up with, you know? Maybe we'll see more playable characters, maybe we'll see challenge runs and altered stages, new gameplay tweaks, or full-on remix mods like, you know, Daughters of Ash for Dark Souls or something. You know, this would be incredible to see. So that's why I'm very excited, and that's why this entire situation is crazy. I really hope this momentum continues, and I hope we keep seeing more amazing breakthroughs. My heart goes out to Pizza and the entire community. You guys are doing an absolutely fantastic job, so keep at it. And this is most likely not the last time you'll be hearing from me about MGS1 modding on this channel, so please stay tuned and peace out.